Today, this meeting is positioned as one of the best heavyweight fights in the history of boxing. It was the night in which all of Iron Mike's heavy artillery could be evidenced against a rival just as hard that he demanded it in order to be defeated. Jose Ribalta was known as the Cuban Giant, and even with his short stature, Mike Tyson had the power to inflict an unimaginable level of damage on him. Returning to fight again and again, Ribalta deserves the title of being the worst nightmare of the great Iron Mike. Welcome, feel confident to press the like button at once because we assure you that this story does not disappoint. You are about to witness the night when the beast inside Mike Tyson was fully released and left no leftovers after devouring the toughest rival of his professional career. Make yourself comfortable and keep discretion because the level of violence of the events you are about to witness is out of this world. It would be the night of August 17th of the 86th when Mike Tyson and Jose Ribalta had to face their destiny by going up to the ring of the Trump Plaza Hotel in Atlantic City in New Jersey. Along with them, he would enter the Rudy battle ring to arbitrate the fight, while Jon Stewart, Phil Newman and Richard Strange looked from the judges' table with caution so that their critical eye could point to the winner of the contest at the end of the 10 scheduled rounds. The strength of their fists was not enough. Tyson entered the ring with a clean professional record of 25 victories, claiming 23 of them through the painful path of the knockout with no intention of staining him with his first defeat. For his part, Ribalta climbed into the ring with a professional record of 22 victories, 15 of them by knockout, 3 losses, and a draw. A modest history which showed potential to be a hard bone to gnaw. In the classifications, Tyson remained the #1 heavyweight contender of the World Boxing Association and the #2 of the World Boxing Council, while Ribalta was in the 8th position by the World Boxing Association. Before the fight, Ribalta was in charge of heating up the fumes a little more by saying that Tyson was simply a strong fighter, claiming that he did not believe in his sports intelligence and only depended on that brute force to win the fights. After the sound of the bell, it was time for the Cuban Giant to test his theory.
Not to try exchange punch for punch. He can't do that.
As expected, Tyson broke the ice with a direct right blow to Ribalta's cheek to open the first round. The level of Tyson's offensive was brutal, so Ribalta had no choice but to retreat and use his guard until he deciphered the correct way to counterattack.
Of course, when we talked to Tyson, he said, I don't mean to take anything away from Tillis. Mike Tyson. No. Big right hand again, but Ribalta.
During the last 30 seconds, the Giant was put on the ropes and punished with a combination of blows that would suddenly hit his body and his face. Tyson continued to set the pace of the fight during the second episode, and it seemed that Ribalta was taking more than a second to decipher how to get rid of the painful situation in which he was getting into the judge's card.
There's a lot of velocity behind his punches.
Entering the last minute, the panorama became grayer for Ribalta after being knocked down for the first time by a terrible uppercut that mercilessly hit his chin. The Cuban Giant got up immediately, but the mandatory count to 8 was carried out. The beast inside Tyson had already tasted blood and jumped in search of more as soon as the fight resumed, showing a much more ruthless offensive with the intention of achieving an early victory. Ribalta's fortress helped him through the third round, although it was not exactly a simple task. Occasionally counterattacking, he had to absorb hard blows to the body that Tyson threw to weaken his center while working his victory.
Punch him very, very clean, very clean. We'll just sit back and...
Being against the ropes on multiple occasions, it was another lost round on the judge's card for the Cuban Giant. From the beginning of the fourth round, Ribalta was seen retreating and trying to put some distance between him and Tyson, who had become his executioner, stretching his left. What Ribalta seemed not to take into account was that when you retreat a lot in a closed space, you reach the limits, making the ropes Mike's best tool, apart from his fists, to punish him mercilessly.
Ribalta got himself in trouble on the ropes.
No matter what happened before, Ribalta was always standing at the beginning of a new episode. During the fifth, in the middle of the program 10, he remained firm, absorbing the inconsolable attacks of Mike, who started a fight with himself, trying to get everything out of himself to bring down the highly resistant Cuban Giant. Despite all the successes that Tyson had scored so far, Ribalta seemed to be far from being defeated for the 6th round. Mike's frustration led him to throw a couple of fists after the sound of the bell announcing the closure, to which Ribalta answered from the ropes before Rudy Battle ordered them to stop. In a fight that seemed to begin to stabilize, everyone began to wonder if the judge's decision would really be necessary. The 7th round began, and it was inevitable not to feel the exhaustion for Tyson, especially after it was the first time that getting a victory demanded so much of him. It was precisely the time for Iron Mike to demonstrate sports intelligence, leaving aside the impulse of brute force, to continue fighting to destroy the Cuban Giant without exhausting himself enough to be the one who began to become more and more vulnerable with the passage of the seconds. The 8th episode brought with it a great surprise. The audience chanted "Jose" as a show of respect for standing up in the face of Tyson's bestial attacks. However, Mike took this as a source of inspiration to tighten his offensive a little more and pressure Ribalta with strong combinations of blows, making him dance on the ring until almost expelled him from the ring, if not because the rope stopped him.
There is no spring, and there's a smashing left hand.
Demonstrating his great resistance, the Cuban Giant got up as soon as his own weight allowed it and decided to continue facing his destiny in the fists of the executioner, who showed less and less clemency for him. Ribalta seemed to be about to fall at any time in the 9th round, but he survived, standing until the closing bell, and the judge's decision was just around the corner. "I only had to resist 3 more minutes." The hunger for victory of the beast inside Tyson made her impatient and demanded that she not wait for the decision of the judges, attacking Ribalta with everything of itself as soon as the opening bell of the 10th round rang. Ribalta was trying to gain some time by clinging to Mike's body in the middle of his cruel offensive, hoping that Rudy Battle would intervene to put some distance between them. After the first minute of the episode, his strategy would be unusable after a powerful blow from the left made him fall on his back on the canvas in a resounding way.
Oh, what a shot! And Ribalta...
Getting up immediately and receiving the mandatory count to 8, his destiny had already been sealed when he decided to continue with the fight. Leaning against the ropes, he was the victim of a last combination of blows from the beast that served to reveal his inability to defend himself and forced Rudy Battle to stop the contest, pointing to the Great Iron Mike as the winner by technical knockout per minute with 37 seconds of the 10th round. The outcome of this hard battle became the 2nd knockout defeat in the professional career of the Cuban Giant, who went down in history for being the first great challenge for the young Mike Tyson. The courage that Ribalta showed earned him the respect of Tyson, who said in the interview after the fight that he had gone to fight and congratulated him for it. Mike also pointed out that Ribalta did a great job in trying to defend himself, to the point of giving him the feeling that he was going to subject him to the uncertainty of waiting for the judge's decision. Despite having achieved his victory by technical knockout, Mike pointed out the fight as a bad night for not having been able to leave him lying on the tarp. If you have come this far, we thank you. Also, we remind you that there is no better way to support our content than leaving your like in the video and subscribing to our channel by activating the notification bell so that you are aware of the new stories about your favorite fighters. Now that you have witnessed this hard battle, do you think that Jose Ribalta was really the toughest rival in Mike Tyson's professional career? We read you in the comments.